Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden, and I am coming to you from the blazing hot Zone 8B in coastal North Carolina. Our heat index today has our temperatures over 100 degrees, and it is the kind of humidity where you just step outside and you begin to melt. So I'm currently in a shady spot in my backyard to do some triage work. It is time to give some plants some TLC. I had recently gone on a vacation to Scotland, and when I came home, largely everything looked great, but now it is time to give that tender loving care to some of the things that didn't do so great. I have some repotting to do, just loving some plants up today. One of my examples of something I have to work on is my baby Dipladenia, which looks really sorry. It looks actually quite dried out, and I'm not sure why, because it got just as much love and attention and water from my neighbor that was taking care of all of my potted plants, but it looks sad. There is a drainage hole at the bottom of this pot, so that's also not the problem, that it got too much water. And the thing is, it was potted into this pot at the very same time this one was. Both of them had overwintered for me in the greenhouse. Repotted them for the spring. This one's looking glorious and this one's looking very sad. So I'm going to take this one out of its pot because, of course, Dipladenia is like one of my most favorite plants ever. So I have to nurse that baby back to health. And then another example of something similar is my poinsettia. I had 2 poinsettia plants from Christmas time, and I just thought if I can keep them alive for the whole year, that would be really awesome, and then have them again for Christmas this upcoming year. This one I did repot, this one I did not. What I failed to do for this one, besides not repotting it, is it had its Christmas wrap around the pot that didn't allow water to drain out when this one was watered. So this poor baby, while I was on vacation, was just drowning, sitting in a pool of its own water, and this one, as I said, looked fine. So I'm gonna repot this one also and see what we can do to get it looking great. Another job is I have lots of these babies, the Dragon's Breath Celosia, that seeded itself in my Croton Petra pot. And so I'm not even sure how many are in there, but I want to get some of them out into some pots, also potentially into the ground. They really are annuals for me here, but somehow the seeds are still fine and protected and germinate. This is not the first time I've had seedlings just come up like this. Since we're in July now though, we don't see any flowering on it yet. All I would say is it's gonna take longer for the flowering to begin if the seeds germinate themselves. But I don't care, because this is still going to be blooming for me at Halloween time. So let's see, besides that, I got a brand new plant today, and this is a Kalanchoe, and I want to add it to my succulent garden back there. So I'm either going to plant that into a terracotta pot, which would match the aesthetic that I have happening in my succulent garden. Again, it's right poolside. I don't even know if maybe you can see my aqua blue flamingo from here. That's pretty much near where the succulents are. So I may do this blue pot here or this one here. I think both of them will go nicely, and I like that they're both like a terracotta or a ceramic. I didn't want plastic there because it's a little, maybe a little bit more high end of a look, if you will. So let's get into some loving on some plants. Before we jump into all the work that I was just talking about, another casualty from my vacation was this pot here. I had begonias in here, and they were not sitting up on my back patio to be watered with the rest of all of my goodies, and they are also not attached to my irrigation. So we did have some life loss here. But one really interesting thing is, see this and this and this. These are all little seedlings of the begonias. I had a pot that sat on like one of these stepping stones last year, and all these seeds must have dropped and germinated right here, and boom, they're all flowering and looking gorgeous. And those are exactly the ones that I had in this pot, the white begonias. So I'm gonna pop some of these out of the ground and into this pot. All right, I think I'm gonna dig up the ones toward the back because you can't see them anyway, so why not? Oh my, maybe I should only put one in here. It looks like really one is the best fit. Well, I have more white begonias to add somewhere else. The next thing I want to do is my Dipladenia here because that one's valuable to me, so I want to make sure I get it looking happy and feeling good. And I think I'm going to just go with the plastic pot here because there's no reason not to. But before I decide on that for sure, I do want to see how deep these roots are. And just make sure the size pot I'm picking will be appropriate. Let's see, I think that's just a lot of extra fill at the bottom there, so I do think this one will be just fine. I used so many pots already this year that I just don't have a lot of extras sitting around waiting. I see 0 bugs, like no aphids, no nothing on this plant. So I do not know what else the problem could be and why it's not happy. The creeping Jenny looks pretty good and happy. Creeping Jenny is one of my favorite things to use coming out of a pot. And so I grow it right beside my grill over there, just so I can keep taking more and more out of the ground for future pot arrangements. I'm wondering if I should clip this back a bit. I think the answer is yes. Let's do that. Maybe he'll feel better. Even though the leaves aren't fully dead, they really don't look that great. So let's just do a little bit of clipping. I like the length on it though, so that does make me a little sad. I don't want to clip it all. Let's just kind of see what happens as we move forward here. If it looks like it's starting to rejuvenate and it looks like it'll benefit from more cutting after the fact, I will do that. Just clipping a couple of stems that have already lost their leaves. Okay, so let's see what happens here with this guy. Add a little more soil into its pot. The soil is moist, so that's certainly not the problem. I wonder maybe the one hole, the one drainage hole, maybe it was too plugged up. Maybe that's the problem. Okay. Beautiful Dipladenia coming our way, right there next to its awesome looking cousin. I don't know. Let's see. So now I have my beautiful Kalanchoe, which could look awesome in the terracotta pot. Could look awesome in that as well, but I think that one's a little too big. I probably don't need that. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to take a little bit of this potting soil that was just left on the ground. Why not? But then I actually have my succulent soil, my cactus palm citrus potting soil. Now this little sweetie pie, it says sun or part sun is the requirement. I have full sun here in my gardens, and let's just see. Height 18 to 24 inches, sun to part shade, we already know that. I don't know. We're about to find out. Okay, so I think I'm going to water these couple of babies in, and maybe you're gonna come with me to go place them in their new spots. So my really healthy Dipladenia that's in a large, heavy-ish pot, I think is going to go back up here. It looks so good, and I love the Creeping Jenny because it looks just, everything looks so healthy and great. So we're gonna leave that there. Let's see. This pot's a little tiny for this spot, so it's not perfect here. I wonder if that should go up as well. And then this other Dipladenia is going to come along my walkway back here, so it's a little more protected from the sun since it's freshly potted. Okay, as for my new succulent, I was thinking it was going to go over here. I had a couple of terracotta succulents potted in here last year, but I brought them in for the winter, and it turned out I really liked them inside. This leaf has to go anyway. Let's see, do we even like that? Poolside, it probably looks really cool. I don't know, maybe it should go back a little. Let's see. So that means I need a new succulent to fill in the space here, and that will make me happy. This is my huge bag of potting mix that I will need actually now because I think I'll do the dragon's breath. So let's see, the poinsettia, this is the nice one, so I'm leaving it completely alone. The dragon's breath. Since I'm a righty, I kind of want to be digging from this side. So the really nice thing here is we have some good roots and we don't have to worry so much about affecting the croton. And let's see, I had used a dark blue pot like this for these before. Getting dirt blowing in my eyes. And these are going to get much bigger also. They get tall and then they get, you know, the Muppet head top on them. Or maybe a Fraggle. If anybody remembers the Fraggles from maybe the 1980s. Okay. So we should get at least 3 of our little magenta, hot pink mop head Fraggles in this pot. This is definitely going in my front yard. So that's that. But I still have more. So what will I do here? Let's see. Oh, somehow I got back into the sun. Okay, so we have at least 1, 2, 3 here on the ground. 4. 5, 6, 7. And this side, let's see. 8, 9, and there is a 10th, but the croton's sort of leaning, and I don't want to hurt it. Oh, it's a big one actually. Hold on. Okay, here's another. I don't even know what I said now. Maybe that was 11, I don't know. So let's add some more soil for this guy. Okay, so the croton's back to good now. Oh, let me take my biggest. Oh, I can't believe that. That stinks. It is way too windy today. I think I just got to go put these all in their place. And my croton was back in the poolside area along the boardwalk too. So I'm going to go place these back there so they could be stable and not sitting here getting pummeled by the wind. Okay, so now let's get our poinsettia, however you would like to say it, into a brand new pot as well. And then these guys are all going to be on the road to recovery. All right, I think I'm going to keep this guy in a bit of a protected spot as well, just until he gets his feet back under him. And then I'm going to take a couple of my tallest dragon's breath to put into this pot. And then I think I'm going to place the rest in the ground. Let's just see here. Yep, I got a little ways to go. So I got 3 tall ones. Gosh, this wind though. Okay, so we got our dragon's breath. Then maybe I'll just put on the patio or something to try to protect it from the wind a little bit. Until these stalks get super strong. I mean, it's been outside this whole time, but still, yikes. I just have to keep switching locations to make sure I'm staying in the shade. So as I am doing some triage on my potted plants, I have this pot that has a red polka dot plant, a pink polka dot plant, and then the Dusty Millers in it. But see, what has happened is the Dusty Millers have gotten very large, too large for this container, and they all started out about the same size. So I think before I disperse all my potted plants that are on my patio into their homes where they actually belonged, again, they were here just for vacation, I think I am going to separate this up. I'm going to put the Dusty Miller in the ground instead of this. I don't think the polka dotted plants were perennial for me anyway, whereas I believe the Dusty Miller is. So I'm just gonna put at least one in the ground and we'll see how the pot looks. It looks like the top of the polka dotted plants are also getting like leggy, if you will. So I think I'll snip off the top of them too. It's all just an experiment because this is the first time I've had any of these before. Okay, well, it came out very, very nicely, so that is good. And as you turn the pot around, like you can see, this red polka dot is not leggy. It looks really good. So it's not all like that, but I think I'm gonna snip the top. Hopefully that's fine. But in the meanwhile, I'm gonna take this one and go put it over by my blue bench. Well, the wind is really whipping here, so I don't know if we're expecting a storm or what. I don't see rain in the forecast, of course. But anyway, we're going to call it done for today. Our triage session will be closed for now. In the meanwhile, I have a lot more plants that have to go back to their spots post-vacation. And the fun thing is, going on vacation is so great, but when you come back, then you don't feel like you have to worry about your plants not being cared for or suffering in some way without you there. So it is some sort of relief to know that I get to just be here and check on them and see how things are going. So I don't often do my gardening chores as part of my videos, but sometimes I think it's therapeutic to watch people work and do the sort of things that we love. So hopefully you feel the same way. Thank you so much for watching. As always, thank you for the support as well. And until next time, happy planting.